Alright folks, Dave aka the Gypsy here once again, and well, I'm starting to learn how to fly choppers. I'll post up on the battle log forums, so I figure I'm going to document the process for the other noobs out there. Hopefully something comes out of it that'll be useful for you, so hope you enjoy the ride. Alright boys, I guess the first thing to do is introduce you to your rides. First, the American side has the AH-1Z Viper. We all know it well. It's probably the nimblest of the bunch. It's got the better top end speed as well. I kind of like it, probably my favorite. The Russians, again, like Battlefield 3, have the MI-28 Havoc. Not as high a top end speed, slightly less agile, and well, it's got a heavier armor, so you give and take. It's a bit of a trade-off. The same goes with the Chinese Z-10W, which is the attack chopper for their forces. Again, slower top end speed, probably a little less agility, but it does have the heavier armor. It's a trade-off either way you go. And that's it for the attack choppers. Next up in our classes is going to be the scout choppers, the scout class. Probably the nimblest of the bunch, and damn near deadly. We'll get into that a little bit later. The Little Bird AH-68 Little Bird is certainly my favorite of the bunch. Really nimble, really fast, can get around, and it's actually got a smaller profile. When you start to think of like the Z-11, which is the Chinese forces, it's much longer, as you can see by the tail. And again, like the earlier stuff of it's got more armor but less agility, so it tends to be a trade-off. Next up is the transport class. This is going to be a video all on its own, I think, because I've seen a lot of people that don't seem to use them well. The Americans are running the Venom this time, reasonable top end speed. They do seem to fly like a big tortoise, mind you, but they've got really heavy armor. Go into the training area and try shooting them with rockets for a while, you'll see what I mean. The high tune, I think it's about the same. I haven't noticed a huge difference. If anything, I think it's probably a little more agile, but again, it's that trade-off of armor, so. First thing you're probably going to want to do is head to the test range. You don't want to be pissing off people out in the battlefield while you're learning. So I spent at least an hour and a half a day on this thing, and really wasn't even bothering with the battlefield till I get out there. You can, go right to the shooting range, mow down some of the targets here. It's good practice for ground troops. Again, keep moving fast. Anybody with a stinger, something's going to lock onto you. The same goes with clearing buildings. You can, go with the assumption there's some guys on the second floor. You want to mow them down, but you also want to get the hell out of there in a hurry. You know what I mean? Because again, RPGs, anything like that, you're sitting still for too long, never good. Flying low is always good practice. It's good for getting. You can't go below radar anymore like the old days, but at least you can get away and around from it. Never attack boats, just like that, man. Hit and run. Attack boats will mess you up pretty bad. So really, you're just trying to take out one of the gunners and go duck behind a building. Again, this kind of stuff's practicing for breaking a stinger lock, shooting troops in the building, things of that nature. And of course, you're going to want to practice shooting stuff out of the sky, because it is going to happen. The easiest way is to imagine that you fired off your first missile to get the guy to flare. After that, while the flares are cooling down, you want to hit him with some automatic gunfire, then move back to your missiles and fire again. And of course, if he's not down, which is often the case, back to the automatic gunfire. It's just something good to practice. I've been doing this a lot. You learn this kind of stuff. Ride with other pilots. Another good place to start. Spend time with other pilots, see what they do. You know what I mean? Never count. You're unlikely at any time to get both missiles away. You want to use one to get them to flare, then you got to go back to your other guns, combination of your other guns and the missile. Something good to practice. I do a whole bunch of that. And as I was saying earlier, you could probably do a whole bloody video on troop transport, because I don't see a lot of people using them properly. They're kind of running around taking objectives with them. I prefer to go pick people up, drop them off, or people can spawn on you and you drop them off. And occasionally, if you got a good gunner running on your right or left side, you can go and go around buildings and things of that nature to try and pick some guys off. But it's a slow mover. You're not going to avoid any attack choppers too well with it, so it's again, I try and use it as a troop transport. When I'm in the training sessions, I tend to fly around using scenarios in my head of either picking people up or dropping them off. In this instance, we're doing a little bit of a quick beach pickup drop off. You're figuring how much time it takes for a couple of guys to get in. Once they're in, get yourself out of there. But again, keep it low. And if you've got a terrain such as this, you're going to come around down below the rocks and work your way to your next objective. We're doing the training range. Again, just pick some spots that you can use. And of course, the last thing I would say is learn the maps. Once you've got some experience, go into some empty maps. and start to learn them, because the first thing I found when I got out there was not knowing where the hell I could go or where to hide or how to get away from things under the heat of battle was not ideal in the least. So go and spend time on as many of the empty maps. Once you're done learning your stuff on the training range, get out and run around the maps for many hours and get used to navigating them, where you can go, where you can hide, and things like that. That's going to wrap it up for the first part, folks. Again, this is for the noobs. Obviously, anyone more experienced is probably laughing their asses off at me. I just figured I'd take everyone along for the ride if you're looking to learn about this stuff. We'll put out another video shortly once I get a little more experience. I've been asking lots of pilots, riding lots of pilots, and learning all kinds of different tips and strategies along the way. If you're not around the Battlelog forums or ours, you might want to drop by and check it out. Until next time, I'll see you on the battlefield.